We've currently got a special offer live now on poodlecfb.com for the launch of College Football 26. Use code KICKOFF, all caps, for $50 off the annual plan, or code KICKOFF 2025 for $5 off the monthly plan. You'll unlock exclusive spreadsheets, in-depth info, and our members-only Discord. Join hundreds of members in the fastest-growing CFB 26 community out there. Don't miss out and sign up now. Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Poodle back with another CFB 26 video. In today's video, guys, we broke recruiting. You're not going to want to miss this. Now, before we get to the video, guys, if you haven't already, check out poodlecfb.com. Guys, the reason we are breaking Dynasty with every single video, glitch after glitch, method after method, best strategies, best tactics, is because of poodlecfb.com, guys. We have some brilliant minds over there, data testers, labbers, great guys, Dynasty leagues going on over there. Everything you could ever want to dominate your Dynasty league is over in that kit. Check it out down below. If you use code KICKOFF, all caps, you get $50 off the annual plan, and code KICKOFF 2025, you get $5 off the monthly plan. Again, all caps. If you use those codes, you are grandfathered in for the lifetime of your deal. So you'll be locked into the greatest and smartest community in the CFB world right now. And you'll be locked in at a cheap rate, guys. Go check it out. You won't want to miss it. Beyond what I put out on YouTube, there's just so much stuff going on in there. You gain invaluable knowledge, guys. But check it out. Don't forget to use your code. Let's get into it. So I'm going to break down all the background information on what you want to be doing first before you can actually go into the method, because these are going to be essential steps. So first, you're going to want to come over to your coach abilities, and you're going to want to upgrade a key package, and that's going to be Motivator, which hopefully you guys have if you watch my videos. But the key package for this year is going to be Tier 1. Tier 1 Motivator. Interest boost for recruits when a current RB hits a skill cap or any position. So again, for the sake of this video, I can only upgrade a few of these. You're going to have them all except kicker and punter. So what this is essentially going to do is when you hit a skill cap on your player, you get an interest boost on a current recruit. So I guess what it's trying to say is, in terms of like real life terms, is let's say you had a quarterback on your roster and he hit his caps. That means you developed him to his potential. So a recruit wants to go to your school because essentially you're basically developing well. So let me show you what this actually means in terms of on your roster, so you can see it with your own eyes. When you go to your roster, and remember, I'm just laying down all the foundation. It's gonna be a long video. Stay with me. I'm gonna lay down everything for you guys so you understand exactly what you're doing, but this is really glitchy. So let's go to a quarterback. Let's go to Jaden, our starting quarterback. When you look at him on the team, his ratings, skill caps are those grayed out boxes with the crosses along them or the lines through them. So look at power. If you were to upgrade his power stat, you would have one box left. Once you were to upgrade for 14 points, you'd be at his skill cap. So by doing this, you would get a boost on all the quarterbacks you were scouting or recruiting at the time on your board, whether it be slight or large. By the way, it's very large. That's why we're going to do this. But if you keep moving on IQ, so if you were to upgrade power and then IQ and then elusiveness 3 times, you'd essentially have hit skill cap 3 times. Right? You guys are following that? So as you look through your roster, you're going to realize there's a lot of players that you can just about do this on, and it goes even further in a few other ways if you follow my strategy. So hopefully you guys understand. So the whole point of this video is going to be how can you maximize this, and I'm going to show you guys what this looks like while recruiting to absolutely dominate the recruiting trail simply using this ability. So that's what we're doing here. So let me lay out some foundation and groundwork for you. First and foremost, there's a few ways you want to leverage and take advantage / exploit this a little bit. The first one's going to be in 3 different stages. Regular season recruiting, and for that, because I'm doing a video for you guys and I don't want to waste your time, I'm going to set this to auto recruiting just so I don't have a missing roster. But a key part of this method is turning off auto progress players. You absolutely need that turned off. If you don't turn that off, this won't work, so make sure you do that. I'm putting on auto recruiting. You don't need to do that. I'm just doing that because I've tried this before and I lose my whole roster and don't recruit anyone. So that's the first thing. So in the regular season, how could you help benefit what you're going to do in the next season? Keep in mind, this is not for the current season if you're just hearing about this, or if you're in season 1, because this needs to be set up a year in advance, basically. So what this requires for you to do in your first season, or if you're just hearing about this, is a few things. During the regular season, when you're recruiting, with your final few spots in your roster, let's say you only bring in like 25 recruits and you have like 10 spots left open and you're in the week 7, you may want to bring in a 1 or 2 or 3 star type guy just to have on the back end to develop later, so you have guys at skill caps, because basically guys who are 1, 2, 3 star guys are heavily capped, especially if you bring in like bust, if you bring in like the red gem bust guys. Another good strategy, they're going to be heavily capped, so it's easy to hit their caps, versus if you bring in an elite dev guy with no caps, it's going to be really impossible. So you could start doing that. The only thing that you may want to be careful of when doing that specifically is that when you go to my school and you go over here to your championship contender, it is based on, part of it's your blue chip ratio, which is how many 4 and 5 stars are on your roster. So be careful when doing that, because you may actually bring that down a little bit on your blue chip ratio. So that's not the ideal way to do it, but if you want to have like a pipeline of this to really dominate, that's the way to do it if you don't mind sacrificing that a tad. But we're going to sim to the next portion of this, which is going to be the transfer portal, and keep going through what you want to do to prep yourself for this insane method. Okay, so we've reached the transfer portal. This is phase 2 of how to prep yourself. So if you don't want to mess up your blue chip ratio, you can just get guys here. And this is also even a little better, because keep in mind 2 things. First, in this year's CFB, a lot of people are actually going to have the auto progression off, and they're going to be doing it manually. So most people won't have all their points allocated, which means a lot of players will have it on them. Remember, if you're looking at your roster, and let's say you have 5 right guards, you're probably only in season upgrading your best ones. You're probably not going down your entire 85-man roster and upgrading your back of the bench guys. So if you look at players that people have let go, and you come here and you get them, you could easily recruit guys with some skill points on them. Really huge. And remember, this year, transfer portal players do get impacted by your training boost, so they'll have points to spend. So this is a good time to round out your class and bring some guys in. So ideally for me, again, you don't want to go after the 5 or 4 star guys. They probably are really, really good, and they're going to be hard to win. You want to bring in a few of these 3-star guys, or guys that are available, kind of like a punter right here, or someone that looks pretty simple. You could get a quarterback. Remember, some positions are really easily capped, like at certain things. So you're going to want to go through and see what you can get. Of course, I'm going to be locked out of a lot of things here, but you guys get the point. You're going to see guys like this, Veal, Denbo. Bring them in pretty simply. You're not going against many people. There's no offers on this guy. Go in, bring them in, get some more guys in your roster so that you'll have more ability to actually hit skill caps on players. That's going to be the best way to do this. And I'm going to probably make a video in the future going over like the most efficient way to do this once I get it down to like a T. But right now, these are all my options for maximizing my roster, bringing guys. Remember, you could always cut bait later. You could bring them in now, and then in the drop player phase next season, just cut all these guys again. But the importance of it is getting in a pipeline of players that you're hitting skill caps on. And guys, this actually is just so crazy because it looks to be better than the recruiter package. But let's keep moving on. So hopefully you guys did turn off auto progression. So let's move on from here. Now guys, we've reached what I'm going to call the final boss of preparation for this, and that's position change week. So like we said with the regular season, bringing in some burners. Let's call them burner players. Bringing in some burners just to use them as a stat cap guy. So you want to come to positions where you have a lot of players and players that you think are basically done on your team. So this guy right here, strong safety. He's a junior. He's a 74 overall. He's an impact dev. This is a guy that's never going to see the field for me. And he's not even depth because I have my 2 seniors here. He's going to be pretty trash. My freshman's coming up. Let's say Urlacher. And again, positions like wide receivers, we have so many of them, even work even better. But let's take him. And remember, when you change positions this year, they do get really capped. And they end up in a pretty bad place. And Kenny Urlacher, as it stands, currently has 0 skill points, but hopefully we can get something from training. So you may want to move these guys to some burner spots that are pretty low, like perhaps a wide receiver, elusive route runner wide receiver, throw him there potentially, get him super capped. And if we go over to wide receiver now and we look at him, you'll see Urlacher at the bottom of our board. And if we go to his ratings, you'll notice that he's pretty heavily capped, and it's not going to cost much to get his hands up by 1 point. Again, you have to get lucky with what skill points you get given, but you're going to get a lot in the training off season. So the point is, move some guys around who are burners into spots that they're going to be heavily capped. Hopefully you're staying with me here. There's a few things you want to do all together. I know we're all working in preparation of how to do this, but do that with a bunch of guys. Again, this is just a sim season for me. If this was like my actual Dynasty and I was playing through it for a few months and weeks and I could do this properly, I'd have a lot more players built up on here. But that's basically what I do, is just get players in position that you can then take advantage of and kind of burn them. And you want to go around your roster and find guys like this. Basically guys who are cut candidates. That's what I would call them. Guys who are going to be cut candidates. So now we've done all the prep. The final thing here that you want to look at is going to be simming to this next week and going to training results. Remember, it was super important that you turned off auto progression. That's going to be the key thing here, or else this won't work. So let's get through all these screens here. So by turning off auto progression, you essentially build up all your skill points. So let's go through your roster and look at all these guys. 22 skill points, 27, 37, 18, 40, 40, 44, so on and so forth. Let's go look at our friend Urlacher, see if anything happened with him. He has 37 skill points. Cha-ching. Like that is exactly what we're looking for. 37 skill points. So when we go to him, we could probably upgrade a lot of caps here. So that's the key. We can upgrade this one's a cap, that one's a cap, that one's a cap. So that's the key. So that's going to be interest on interest on interest for wide receivers we're upgrading. And again, you could take this even a step further and you could pre-plan your position changes to be a position you need. Let's say you know for sure, like, my wide receiver. You know, when you get to that point in the season where you're like, wow, I didn't really get wide receivers these last 2 years. I'm really going to have to bring in a 5 or 4 star next year. I'm really going to be in a bad spot, or quarterback, whatever. Pre-plan the year before to recruit burners or position change burners to go into position of need that you want. That's going to be so key. So now we've done that. Now what you're going to want to do is not spend anything this week. I know it's so tempting. Your league's going to be sitting here. Don't spend any points in this week. Hold on to it, and you're going to want to go to next season. And this is the key. This is where it gets special. So we're going to advance to next season, and you want to see what you're able to do here. All right, guys, so I'm setting up my board very strategically here. I'm going to show you guys a bunch of guys that were on first for, and I'm going to show you guys a bunch of guys that were not even on the board for. So look, right here, we're in first for all these guys. So I'm going to go through. I'm going to start offering scholarships, but I do want you to see a few guys that were not on the board for, just so you guys can see proof before we move on a little bit more that we're not just bringing in guys that were top 4. I want you to see the actual interest boost. So feel free to pause as we go through this. Feel free to take a look at this is our interest on these guys. Yes, we're first for a lot of these, but all the way at the bottom here, we're not even on their board for some of them. So some we're not on the board for, some we are. It's a mixed bag. So I'm going to offer these scholarships. I'm going to show you guys the interest. Then we're going to advance through and show you guys how we're going to do this. There's a lot of 1 stars on my board for some reason. I went back and looked at that. So I added a bunch more guys. Take a look at all the interest here. It's all mixed bag, varied, 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, so on and so forth. I have everything in here. Look at how we're going to do this. So these are all our players. Remember, we're focusing right now on quarterback, halfback, and wide receiver. Why? Just because that's easier for us to get like a good sample size of players. So we're going to want to go to our roster now and go look at all the accrued training points for each position group and start spending it. So let's start at the quarterback spot. We have 1 quarterback available here for us to do it with this guy. And that's the reason you kind of want to stack some guys here, because as you saw, these 2 guys are freshman and freshman redshirt. The redshirt guy is nothing, and the freshman is nothing. So had we went ahead and used the regular season, the transfer portal, or the position change spot, we could have put a lot more guys at quarterback to prep for this. But let's look at this guy here and see what we're able to actually upgrade for skill caps. So right now we can upgrade power of 1, IQs 2. We have enough for both. Here we would not be able to get one here. Too expensive. Likely too expensive or close. This one is possible. Let's start with these. Let's go to power. We hit 1 skill cap there. We hit another skill cap here. We're left with 8. We can't hit any more skill caps, but that's fine. So keep this amount of quarterbacks. For the quarterback position, we hit 2 skill caps. Now let's go to running back. And let's spend through here and see what other skill caps we can hit. As you guys see, these guys have higher skill caps. It is way easier to do when you do it on a player that's much lower. So here, it doesn't look like we'll be able to hit one. Maybe IQ. Let's just go through and look. You want to be doing these with the cheapest of the cheapest ones for obvious reasons. It looks like IQ is going to be the one that we could possibly hit. So yes, with IQ, we're going to hit it. Let's go. So that's 1 skill cap for running backs. And it looks like we'll be done here as well. And you want to keep going through and do this for each position group. I'm going to keep doing it for each one that you're going to be focusing on. And for a full roster, guys, it doesn't take a while if you're doing this with your whole roster. And by the way, while we're just talking about setting things up, remember, you want to hold training points regardless, because if you have those packages, if you just hold all your training points to this week and upgrade, you're going to accidentally do it. So even if you're trying to be super realistic, I have a running back, Caden Durham on LSU. He needs 1 upgrade or 2 to get his max speed. I do that right away every time. So if I just don't do it in the offseason, I do it during the week 0 week, I'm going to get that boost organically. So on top of like really trying to cheese it and do it this way, you can also just hold it and just do it in week 0 anyways, because nothing changes from the training result week to now. So there's really the only thing you're losing really is if your league advances the training results and sits there for hours to do this, it's going to suck while everyone else is upgrading and you can't see yet, but it's well worth the gain. So let's keep going through. I'm going to keep going through on all these guys and just seeing which caps I can hit for a little bit, but I'm going to skip through that, and you guys just have seen enough for that. I did want to show you Urlacher though, the guy that we intentionally botched. As I said, look at this, how many you can do with Urlacher now because of what we did. So this is the benefit of, and this is just us picking one guy, doing it relatively quickly in a video. You have all these caps to hit, and they're easy to hit too. Like remember, there were some guys I looked at where it was like, yeah, this is going to be a little tough to hit. It's not going to be tough at all to hit it with this guy, because of how capped he is. And that's kind of like a thing with the A this year with how this position changes work. They get really capped when you put them at a spot like this versus last year where you could make like a demon at that spot. So look at that. We're hitting all these caps very, very easily. And looks like we're going to be able to cap out on all of our, almost basically all the positions. So if you do this with 4 or 5 wide receivers, you're getting this boost 4 or 5 times across the players. So make sure you definitely take advantage of that. But again, back to what we were doing. Let me show you guys the final result. So wide receiver was the one we were able to do the most of. So just take a look at all of these guys right here, all these wide receivers. As you guys can already see in the top right, look at their top right. We went from that top 8 spot. It hasn't updated yet, but look, top 3, top 3, top 3. This guy's committed. Top 3, top 3, top 3 at wide receiver, which was the one we did the most of. Halfback, we did a little less of. Top 3, top 3. but let's see what this actually looks like when we go through and move on to some of these players and see actually what the things are. But you guys can basically see it. I'm going to sit right here and just go through, because you could always pause and look at interest and where we're at in a lot of these guys. So let's make sure we have an accurate log of all this. So there we go. Should be all of them. Now let's go advance through and see what happens with this. So this is very interesting, because Elite Recruiter doesn't even do what this does. We just reached top 3. Guys, we just reached top 3 on wide receivers, as you saw there. And it is not even week 0 yet. That was just the scouting week. Have you ever seen that before? Look at that. Look, let's start one by one. Quarterbacks. We had no hours on him. This was week 1. We're in the top 8. We locked schools out off rip. And quarterbacks only had 1 guy on. Look at that one. Look at that one. And quarterbacks were 1 guy we had and 1 skill cap. So let's just start with what you could do with this just off rip. If you do it the right way and you set yourself up the right way, you can go into the top 5 and you can lock out all your friends, all your buddies with Georgia, LSU. You can lock people out right off rip. So it's just quarterback, right? We're ahead of Bama on a quarterback. We're ahead of Penn State. We're ahead of good programs. Halfbacks. We did 2 halfbacks. Look at this. That guy's locked. No one's getting him. And you know what's even crazier about this? I know I'm kind of rambling a bit here, but the rug pull method. You know how good the rug pull method is with this? Right here and there. Michigan's backing out. Oregon's backing out. Right in there, Washington's backing out. Penn State's backing out. So right off rip, you get the rug pull method where everyone's going to back out of these fights thinking they can't win it. You can then take your points all off and not put any points on and just go after other people and go all in on them. Now let's go to the big one, which is wide receiver. At wide receiver, we have a guy an inch away from commit. I locked out Michigan, Georgia, Oklahoma, Clemson, Penn State, Arizona, Oregon, and SMU and Oregon are actually both in there. But look at that. It's over. The whole thing's over. We went from, look right there. Look below his name, Isaac Smelter. Look where the yellow line was. Look how much we gained in 1 week. Mahomes, right to commit. This guy, I think he insta-committed at some point when we were advancing. But if you look at all these, there's not a single guy that we're basically struggling with now. Except for the positions we didn't do it at, right? So tight end, to show you guys the difference, to make you think like, oh, it's USC, they're a good recruiter, because I know I'm going to get those comments. USC, they're a good recruiter. Those are easy schools. Stanford's beating USC for a tight end, because we did nothing. Villano, strong safety. Only a little bit of boost there, nothing crazy. The positions we did it at, quarterback. Sam, we did nothing at. Right tackle, we did nothing at. Free safety, we did nothing. When I say we did nothing, we don't have the packages for them. If you remember Motivator, I didn't buy D-line, linebackers, or secondary, and I didn't put guys at those positions anyways. Quarterback, huge boost, nothing. Halfback, huge boost, nothing. Will, nothing. Cornerback, nothing. Halfback, huge boost, huge boost. Wide receiver, and because I had auto recruiting on, it took off a few of the wide receivers on my board. I can now see that, but you guys get the point here. This is the most insane thing I think this is the most insane thing I've ever seen in Dynasty mode. This broke recruiting. I mean, honestly, EA is gonna have to fix this, because you quite literally will never ever lose a recruit again if you just follow this. And mind you, this was with me doing it very, very quick. I brought in like 2 guys. I didn't recruit in the reg season or portal. I didn't do the whole flipping of the portal guys. I didn't bring in the 1-star. I told you what to do and how to even optimize it better, but I didn't even have to do all that. It was that simple. That's what I said earlier in the video, how simple it was to actually go ahead and do this without actually putting much effort. Now imagine if you sat there and put some time in, some hours, and really plan this. Imagine if you recruited with the pipeline idea of, okay, every year I'm going to bring in 1 3-star quarterback, 1 3-star running back, and have a pipeline of backups on your team, or bring in 4-star bust players who have really bad caps but don't hurt your blue chip ratio. Like one step further, keep the blue chip ratio, don't hurt anything, and still get guys with bad caps. And think about not upgrading. So the key things to take from all this. First off, this is the greatest recruiting package in the game. That is going to be tier 1 motivator. Hopefully they fix it. Greatest recruiting package in the game. You're going to want it on all positions but kicker and punter. But you know what? It's only 8 points. You want to bring kickers and punters? Go for it. And then you're going to utilize the regular season recruiting, the transfer portal, and the position changes to set yourself up with a pipeline of players at positions you want. And remember to do this a little strategically. Like if you know you need a quarterback, or you know you need a running back, or you know you haven't had a good quarterback class in a while and you have a hunch that it's about to be a good quarterback class. All of those things are good reasons to do so. But if you have a pipeline of players and you do this year over year, you're going to just have a pipeline of players at every position. You don't have to think much about it. Remember to utilize burner players. Go through your roster, see like juniors or seniors who are low rated with low ceilings that you could just burn and put on another spot, like a 37 overall wide receiver. Make sure to turn off auto, point spending, put it on manual, which should be online anyways. Spend it all in week 0. You could even take it in the preseason. You could also do it in week 0. You could do this at any week, but the good thing about week 0 is for 2 things. First, it amplifies the rug pull method, because like right here, Washington's done. So you could just sit there and you could just not put points on them and just go other ways. So if you want to lock up elite recruiter, guys, this is the easiest way to get elite recruiter. You quite literally can just rug pull all these guys, go in on another 10 guys, get all of them legitimately, come back, secure these guys. Now you have a full like 20 to 30 4-stars or 5-stars. Remember, this could have been done with 5 stars too. It could have been done with basically any player. This is a 5-star right here, but this was an athlete, but he was an athlete quarterback. So I guess it works on athletes. That's good to know that we just found out in real time. But this is just absolutely incredible. I wish they didn't mess with my board a little bit here, but you'll see what you're doing here. You're going to be locking up 5 stars, 3 stars, 4 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. And again, don't say it's because of USC, as you saw, you could do this with any school. Any school can do this. The only problem you have with the small school is you'll have less access to 5 or 4 stars, but if you utilize the new strategist package to drop deal breakers, you actually can get in on them and then do that. There's a video coming on that. Don't you guys worry. But that's basically it. Hope you guys enjoyed. There's really no other caveats to this. Go enjoy. This really breaks recruiting. Thank you guys for watching. If you haven't already, check out poodlecfb.com. You want game-breaking tips just like this? You want to know everything before it's live on YouTube? You want to be a part of the data studies and all the conversations? Join poodlecfb.com, fastest growing community. We're nearing 1,000 active members on there, which is pretty insane. We've doubled in just about a few weeks. So make sure to check it out, guys. Use code KICKOFF, all caps, for $50 off the annual plan, or code KICKOFF 2025 for $5 off the monthly plan. Check it out. Make sure to use the code. You won't want to miss it, guys. Can we get 500 likes in this video? Thank you for watching, and we're almost at 40K subs, so make sure to sub as well if you're new. Thank you, guys. I'm out. Peace.